race for the White House, a show where we get you the latest from America's political landscape. So for this episode from our studio in New Delhi, we are being joined by our White House correspondent Rohit Sharma, who will decode for us why Kamala Harris is avoiding the press. We'll also tell you about the possibility of the much anticipated Trump-Harris debate getting derailed. All of this and much more, so let's get started. The press has a question for Vice President Kamala Harris. Why isn't she giving interviews? It's been over a month since Harris became the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, and during this period, Harris has had very limited exchange with the press. Journalists have now started complaining about this, and her Republican rival has also pointed out that at this point, he is taking more questions than Harris. So why is Harris avoiding the press? Is this a game plan, or is she really out of answers? Well, our White House correspondent Rohit Sharma decodes this for us. Over to you, Rohit.
Well, yes, Ashita, if we were to zoom out of electoral stakes, of course, it's not good for democracy if politicians keep dodging the press. Citizens should expect their next potential president to publicly answer questions about their policy proposals and other hot-button issues. Plus, with her campaign starting so unusually late, the public deserves to learn more about her. All the public has seen up until now are scripted rally speeches, social media clips, and the convention. We may not learn much about her views on issues and topics that she prefers not to address, or assess how she responds to unplanned events or incidents that usually occur on a campaign trail. Interviews and press conferences are risky for any politician. Now, there is no guarantee about how they will go. As a candidate trying to win election, she will naturally weigh the risks and rewards of what might help her or harm her campaign. So facing some difficult media questions really may not be the best strategy to help Harris win right now. However, remaining unavailable indefinitely poses its own strategic risks and is likely unsustainable over the longer term. Now, if you look closely, Harris has benefited immensely from overwhelmingly positive media coverage. The Democrats are leaving no stone unturned to project her as the candidate of change. And so far, the party seem to like what they see. And all of this has happened without a single formal press briefing or an interview. If you look at her past interviews, she suffered some gaffes when she tried to run for president in 2020. Her previous media interactions show that she intensely prepares for any formal chat with the media, but at times, she does come short. Many are also of the view that racism and sexism give her less leeway to make a mistake. Politicians often have good reasons to talk to the press. Some seek to increase their prominence and name in the run-up to the polls. Some are hoping to turn around their numbers because they're losing, and some want to promote their policies. Interestingly, none of these predicaments currently apply to Harris. She already has a ton of positive media coverage since becoming the Democratic nominee. She's currently leading in numerous opinion polls over Trump, and she's still molding her governing agendas. But if Harris keeps avoiding the press, grumbling from the media will likely increase. This paves the way for a narrative that is, she is too afraid and incompetent to address the media. This in turn could generate negative coverage that she has mostly avoided so far. Now, we cannot also forget the fact that it's been quite a busy month for Kamala Harris. Over just a few weeks, she has had to take over a struggling Biden campaign, pick a running mate, develop her campaign's policies, and oversee preparations for the Democratic National Convention. But now Harris's lack of engagement with the media has become a rallying cry for the Republicans. Some are accusing the vice president of ducking scrutiny, while many others say that she is incompetent. However, her party's campaign managers say that in America's fractured media landscape, Harris is reaching out to voters from alternate venues like TikTok and Snapchat. Now, all we can do is wait for Trump-Harris debate that will take place on September 10th, and we'll all know that she won't be able to dodge the jibes from her Republican rival that night.
Absolutely, Rohit. So now speaking of the presidential debate, hardly 2 weeks are left for the event, but it seems like the debate could be derailed. The Democratic and Republican Party have hit a deadlock over whether the candidate's microphone should be muted or not when it's not their turn to speak. And this came to light after Donald Trump posted on his campaign handles that he might opt out of the debate because of this hot mic issue. So, Rohit, people have been waiting for this Trump-Harris showdown, but now it seems It's falling apart. What's the latest update on this?
So, Ishita, Donald Trump is caught on a hot mic. A report suggests that Harris' campaign is pushing to keep the microphones on the entire time. This is a deviation from Biden's campaign request, which believe that this would stifle Trump's ability to dominate and potentially derail the debate, as it did during their first on-stage encounter in 2020 election. But Biden is no longer running for president. And Harris's campaign wants the microphones to be hot at all times during the ABC debate, as historically been the case at all presidential debates. Harris has taken a different approach. She believes an unrestrained Trump would turn out to be an advantage for the Democrats to pull undecided voters. Having a hot mic during duration of the debate will capture exchanges between the candidates. That includes many outbursts from Trump, pretty much like the 2016 and 2020 debates. The Harris campaign apparently sees such a scenario as potentially favorable to her. This would capture Trump's unhinged nature. The Trump campaign is insisting that Harris is trying to change the rules with the hope that Trump will skip out on the debate. This disagreement over muted microphone has stirred speculation that whether Trump will follow through on his commitment to debate Harris. Trump has already criticized ABC News for hosting the debate, insisting that the network does not treat him fairly. It should be noted that the terms of the debate, which is slated to take place in Philadelphia, were agreed upon before Harris replaced Biden on the Democratic ticket. Now, we do not know how long will this haggle go on between the two campaigns, but chances are slim that the entire debate will be derailed because of this.
So moving on now, Democrat turned independent politician from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard, has completed an astonishing reversal. The once presidential hopeful has endorsed Donald Trump in this year's race for the White House. Now, the former congresswoman unsuccessfully sought the Democratic nomination for president in 2020 before formally leaving the party in 2022. And now, appearing with Trump, Gabbard has formally gave her endorsement and expressed her confidence in the former president.
I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Now, this endorsement follows a similar move by another former presidential contender, Robert F. Kennedy. Kennedy also suspended his campaign recently and declared his support for Trump. So, Rohit, how much weight does Tulsi's endorsement actually carry?
Well, Tulsi Gabbard is a pretty well-known name, at least to, in all the political circles, to the fact that, she ran, against President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in the 2020 Democratic primary. She attacked Vice President Kamala Harris successfully, and she pointed out Kamala Harris's record, especially when she was Attorney General in California. So she's got the credentials, to be known across the nation. Now, the reason, how much weightage will this carry? I think it all depends. She might be able to appeal to some of the independents and moderates. And also to some of the disaffected Democrats who actually, do not want to vote for Kamala Harris. So she might be able to pull that, but I think she's going to have a very limited impact on the Republican base. I don't think she's bringing in any Republican voter base. She does have a very interesting foreign policy where she talks about how the U.S. should not intervene in other nations and their foreign policies, and so you might see her, taking on or speaking about those things on the campaign trail. But at the same time, this is not as impactful as RFK Jr.'s endorsement. I think Tulsi is obviously vying for a role in a Trump 2.0 administration, and she's helping him out with the debate preparation because she was successful in attacking Kamala Harris. But apart from that, I think it's very limited. The weightage is very limited in what she can do to help him get elected.
All right. And what role do you think she'll play on the Trump campaign?
Well, look, as I said, she is going to be a surrogate, which means that She's going to go to campaign stops. She's going to rally behind Trump. She's probably deliver some stump speeches. But apart from that, she's already helping Donald Trump with debate prep. We know that she stood in for as Kamala Harris in one of the debate preps. She's sharing all the details that she had on Kamala Harris when they were debating in the 2020 Democratic primaries. She also will be playing, the role of what we call as the attack dog, the next 8 weeks or so. So we'll probably see her a lot on mainstream media, acting as a surrogate and attacking Kamala Harris. She also would want to appeal to, as I said, appeal to this Democratic voters who probably do not like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. So she'll probably do all of those things in her role on this campaign.
All right. Thank you so much, Rohit. So time now for some quick updates from the political landscape in the US that you might have missed. First up, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has accused the Biden administration of pressuring the social media group to censor certain COVID-related content during the pandemic. Now, in a letter addressed to the House Judiciary Committee, Zuckerberg wrote that senior Biden officials had repeatedly pressured Meta's team for months to censor some COVID-19 content. These comments mark an unexpected public confession from Zuckerberg as the Democratic Party gears up for presidential polls in November. Next up, former President Donald Trump is tying Vice President Kamala Harris to the withdrawal of US forces from the Afghan war. So Monday marked the third anniversary of the suicide bombing that killed about 13 US service members in Kabul. And speaking to National Guard members, Trump attacked Harris for the withdrawal, claiming that his administration would have done a better job. Now, Trump and his campaign have repeatedly attacked President Joe Biden as well over the Afghan withdrawal, referring to it as the most embarrassing moment in the nation's history. And at last, an Arizona judge has set a trial date of January 5th, 2026 for the allies of Donald Trump who are charged for a criminal conspiracy to overturn the 2020 elections. Now, if that date holds, it means that Arizona case will go to trial close to 5 years after the alleged crimes were committed. At the same time, the Arizona case is now the only criminal case related to the 2020 election overturn. While Trump has not been charged in the Arizona election subversion case, the investigation remains ongoing and prosecutors have not closed the door on potentially indicting more people. Well, that's all we have for you today in this episode of Race for the White House. Stay tuned to India Today Global for more such updates.